Hey everyone, this is Chantal Gerardy from Online Business Marketing. I'm super excited today to share with you a content on how to actually film and create B-roll content for Reels. And specifically, how would a business owner and a business owner and a marketing duo or virtual assistant collaborate in order to be able to create ongoing video footage and then give it to their virtual assistant or marketing duo, or perhaps they are the marketing duo, and then turn that into content. So today is epic because we're going to talk about how to do that, because video content is so super important. And the thing about B-roll footage is it is background footage, which means you can basically put your anything on top of it and turn it into anything. Obviously keeping in alignment with your brand and your audience and the platform, which I'll go into today. But you can just have lots and lots of little snippets of B-roll footage and you can put anything on it. Now, for me, super easy to do because I'm canyoning, I'm jumping off waterfalls. I did iFly last week. Like, I'm constantly doing crazy shit, and we video everything, and then my team take that and they cut it into snippets, and then they utilize our key messages folder, our content pillar, or our eats principles that we do. And then they look at what we're trying to promote at the time, and then they use ChatGPT to say, if Chantel's in a bath of, just to give you an indication, I was in a bath of little rubber duckies at this like immersive entertainment place in Sydney. They'll take that, put the context in there, ask for a metaphor, put the content marketing plan in. Obviously, ChatGPT is customized, and then it will give it some caption ideas that will go with it. But it is engaging content. It is engaging, relevant content. Now, I'm not asking all of you to go jump in bars with rubber duckies and do that, but it is part of my content marketing plan. Even when I go away, I always get a place with a bath, and I have a bubble bath, and I film myself in the bath with bubbles. You cannot see anything, so don't worry. But that's engaging content, and I always come up with how it's important for you to relax in business and go take holidays and be more playful and be more creative in your business. So that's one of my content pillars. Another one that I do all the time is me sitting on the bed in my pajamas with my laptop, and I call it the myths about laptop lifestyle. These are just some of the things that I've included because they're easy to do. So here's the thing, business owners, choose something that's easy for you to do, right? If you're not a jump in the bath all the time kind of person, there's no point in having that as a content pillar. If you're not, into, I don't know, into, canyoning or other things, then there's no point in you having that as a content pillar. For me, it's really easy, and we can use that footage, and it does get a lot of attention. So for you, it's around looking at, what are your values? What are the things that you're interested in, and what potentially could you do? And doesn't always have to be business related. For example, the owner of oh my gosh, I've gone blank. Babysitters on the Gold Coast, Orly, she's amazing. She's taken up drumming. So she talks about, mums taking time for themselves, and it's just her in the background, learning and playing drums. So obviously it needs to be something that you on an ongoing basis are going to do. There's a couple of things that work well. Drinking beer, drinking wine, sunsets, the ocean. If you go to the beach every day, then just doing the ocean in the background. If you've got dogs running in the background. If you've got a cattle farm, then, because one of my clients in New Zealand, I'm like, well, if you don't want to be in the images, that's great. You don't have to be in the images, but put the cattle in the images. So really, it's just look at your day to day, every day, and go, what is it that I can use on an ongoing? Is it gardening? Is it cooking? And then how can you work that as into your content plan for you? So you don't have to always be shown in your marketing if you don't want to, but at least you've got background footage. So I'm going to show you how to batch. We're going to talk about batching it in one session. I don't batch in one session. It drives me nuts getting dressed into different outfits. The only time I do that is if I'm in a really cool location, like when my daughter got married, we're up at the Lavender Farms, and I changed outfits 3 times, and because my Airbnb was aesthetic, absolutely beautiful. So I changed into 3 outfits and did videos in 3 of the different rooms because I wanted footage, but I don't personally like to batch film content, but I have many clients who do. We're also going to talk about how you come up with your captions, and how do you use, AI, as well as stickers and text overlays on social media, and then also the other software and tools like CapCut or Descript, and then also how SEO falls into all of that and visibility. So firstly, this is for business owners and marketing doers. As I said, if you are the business owner, you've got to come up with video and you've got to put it out. If you are a business owner with a marketing doer, you've got to come up with a system to be able to take those videos and give it to the virtual assistants. I know we've had an issue recently with one virtual assistant where the business owner was taking drone footage. He does fencing in New Zealand. He does drone footage. Then he couldn't get the drone footage because it's in high res, couldn't get it to the virtual assistant still in high res. So then you've got to look at software in order to do that, right? And putting it through Google's a really easy way to do that, by the way. So you just got to look at a system of how you're actually going to be doing it and whether or not you're going to edit it on your side. So for example, what I do is I actually just crop the images. So if there's any videos that are shitty, I just get rid of them straight away. The good ones I'll moderately crop because else you're putting so much content out to your virtual assistants. So I try to get it a little bit, just a little bit like really nifty on what's really the good parts. And that's just a commitment that I make for myself or my VAs. So they're not sitting there for hours and hours going through, 7 hours of footage when I can just crop it and cut it into smaller ones, which is what I did, for example, for the awards. Cool. So B-roll footage is by far the easiest and most flexible way to get video content because it doesn't rely on you coming up with a script or a perfect setup. And you don't always have to be on for the camera because it's more personable experience. And once those things are filmed, you can actually use that content again and again and again, obviously not straight away, but 6 months later, you could possibly use that same video, use a whole new caption, put a whole new sticker on it, put a whole new music on it as well. So it really is a great way for you to be able to leverage video without, having to think about everything and making sure everything's in alignment. Because at the end of the day, consistent strategic storytelling is really important through videoing. And it also very much helps with connection. Connection is super important. So B-roll really is about visual storytelling behind your brand. So visual storytelling behind your brand. And so the lifestyle and behind the scene moments that humanize your business and humanize you. Earlier today, we're doing a competitors analysis for one of my clients, and we had a look at somebody's content. The content was so Canva pretty. I went, this is a Canva pretty content. And I knew straight away that as soon as I went to the words, I could see no content plan, no strategy. It literally was one sentence and one link. And that was it. And I go, that is a pretty profile. It's not a profile. It's not content that will convert. I would rather have, because there was no human element to it. And then on top of it, the storytelling component and all the key messages that we go through with hook, connection, credibility, convinces, call to actions, none of that was in there. So I know that those platforms are never going to get engagement. They're just going to sit there looking pretty, but they're never ever going to get traction with the algorithm. So some examples you could do is just typing or scrolling on your laptop. So you could, if you're on your laptop, you could put your phone there, turn your video on, and you could just be typing on the computer, and that's B-roll footage on your phone, talking to a client, packing an order, setting up your workspace, walking your dog. On the weekend, I took Tommy and taught him for the first time how to go on a lead on the bicycle, next to the bicycle. He's just learned how to go in the back of the basket, but now he's learned how to go there. I've got, B-roll footage of a cute little dog, and all I did was put my phone on a rock next to a tree, video it, went back, just left it there videoing, went back, cycled in front of the camera, and there I've got nice B-roll footage, right? And I can put anything on that, right? Any content. So the B-roll footage really then does come down to what your engaging caption is going to be and what the voiceover is going to be. So one of my clients, Rachel from Less Pest More Control, she did one the other day. It was a story. She filmed a cockroach that was like wriggling and like moving, like dying on the ground. And then she put a voiceover on top of it that said, this cockroach is actually dying, which means the pest control is actually working. It doesn't mean the pest control didn't work. It means the pest control is working. And she put a voiceover over that in a story. So, so it's super easy to do. at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're teaching people, you're entertaining them, or inspiring them. And of course, you can use ChatGPT to help you. Um, so an example prompt is write 5 engaging captions for a reel showing me working on a client strategy at my desk. Make them inspiring, short, and add a call to action to book a call. So I've just given context of what's in the video, giving it context, and then asking it to create it. Just remember, when it comes to prompting on ChatGPT, I like using the words personable. I like using the words relevant. I like using the words emotive. And I like to say storytelling or metaphors. These are great words that I like to use when I'm prompting. So some of the trending B-roll footage for 2025 was footage that focused on authenticity, movement, and mood. Again, it's like, where are you going to tattoo that on your body? Like every time you do something, it's got to be authentic, movement, and mood. People want to see action. They want to see something, right? So trending ideas include hands and action shots. So that's a big thing at the moment. You'll notice on whenever people do a reel and that, they'll come up to the camera, they'll do hands in the camera first and come out. I've done it recently as well. It's kind of a line break, and that's how people do it. So hands and shots, but it's also typing, writing, creating, packing. So your face doesn't need to be in it. It can just be your hands. Walking and talking sequences. So again, it could be a Zoom recording just playing in the background. It could be you having coffee with someone and videoing. A lot of the time when I'm out with my friends, for example, I went boating and jet skiing the other day to go and look at whales. And every time I started videoing, the guy that I was with, he was like, he just stopped talking. And I'm like, carry on talking. It doesn't matter, because I'm literally going to take the words out and I'm going to put a voiceover, or I'm going to put music over it. So carry on talking. Doesn't bother me, because I just get, footage. It's not going to bother me at all. So walking and talking sequences, so filmed outdoors or in your workspace, and then point of view clips. So POV. So for those of you wondering what POV is, point of view clips, that is trending. It has been trending for quite a while now, actually. So you'll see POV. You just write POV, point of view. It gets people to open and listen to it. But you can, again, prompt ChatGPT to come up with some point of view clips. If you're unsure what it is, go to onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au, go to free resources, go to blog and put in POV. And there is a training there on what POV content is. So you do want sort of natural light. If ever you're with a whole bunch of influencers. So for example, I was at the Million Women's Movement and we were on a yacht last week, and all these people in the health, wellness, and fitness industry, everyone's got their cameras and they're turning it around like this. And what they're doing is they're looking for the best light. So if you see somebody doing that, so when you pick up your camera and you look at your camera, just make sure that we always just spin around until I go, right, that's the right, look. So natural light, candid laughter, coffee moments, daily rituals. So a lot of people, often I'll do one if I'm just meditating or I'm doing breath work, and I'll have that playing in the background as well. Client calls, event setups, desk resets, even tidying your desk. I was thinking about time-lapsing my desk the other day. I do it with fires, and we're going into summer now here in Australia, but I do this with fires as well. As I do fires on slow-mo. So when you do a fire in slow-mo, it goes really fast and then it slows down. It looks epic, and you can write anything on it and people are going to read it because it's just so amazing. So yeah, so don't forget your features like time lapse and slow-mo. And again, for you, virtual assistants will you need to let the business owners know, because if they're not here listening to this meeting, it's like, hey, don't forget, on your phone you can do some slow-mo stuff, you can do some time-lapse stuff. I painted a painting for Destiny Rescue, which is for sex child trafficking awareness, and I painted a picture and it was auctioned off, and we time-lapsed the whole thing, and it went viral. It took me about 5 hours to paint this painting, and it really did well. So don't forget about simple things like slow-mo and time-lapse. A little bit, I'll throw this in. With time-lapse can actually be too fast, but if you upload it onto your phone and then you go to speed it up or slow it down, I'll often slow down a time-lapse just by one, just to make it a bit slower, because else time-lapse can be too fast. So let's have a look. So Then you want to put a trending sound. So when you go into Reels and you're about to upload it, there's a little section called trending sounds. So you want to go to the trending section. Obviously, it's going to be relevant. I'll give you a clue on how I do that. I was doing iFly, so indoor skydiving. So when I go to choose music, I put in fly, and then all the songs that talk about flying come up, and then I'll choose a song about, that's about flying that people know that's trending. And then text overlays and voice overs, just remembering that when you put the captions on or text overlays on it, you need to watch the video the whole way through to make sure that the words don't end up on some part that they shouldn't end up, and that you're in what we call the safe zones. So not too far up, not too far down, but you also don't want it across the middle as well. So when you're looking at it, you just got to be aware of the safe zones. If it's too far down at the bottom, the caption will actually be on top of it and you won't actually see the words. So the best part that I like is probably about 1/3 down from the top is usually where I like to put it. But then you've got to make sure that, for example, I'm not talking, my head's there, and then you end up having words across the face, because that's not going to look good either. So yeah, making sure that your head, your eyes is in the middle of the screen. So your eyes is in the middle of the screen. So therefore, when you are filming and you're doing it in portrait, you've got space up below, up here and down here. You don't want to be too close, because then if I start to write stuff, it's going to be over you as well. So these are just some of the things that you need to consider. All right, so where should you use your B-roll? So as always, we respect the platform, we respect the audience on that platform. So whilst we can repurpose content to different platforms, we do want to make sure that we are putting the right platform in the right place, and respecting, of course, the hashtag rules as well. So for Instagram Reels, we're looking at 5 to 30 seconds. A couple of the business owners were trying to get virtual assistants to do 90-second Reels. And I'm like, why would you do a 90-second Reel when you can do 3 30-second Reels at 90 seconds anymore? And the best for Instagram would be to showcase your brand personality behind the scenes and your trends. For Instagram stories, 5 to 15 seconds. And you want to use the stickers. So that's the little square smiley face, where you can use stickers, polls, questions, emojis, which will help people to stay on the platform. For example, I spoke about, the cockroach was moving, plus there was like some captions on it, plus on top of it, there was a voiceover. It was very pleasantly done by my client. For TikTok, we're looking at 7 to 45 seconds, and you mix raw, unfiltered footage with storytelling voiceovers. For Facebook Reels, we're looking at 10 to 60 seconds, and repurposing those Reels to warm audience nurturing. I did a reel. I did a live because it was going to be long. I did a live. It was 40 minutes long, which was an interview. Then we can chop that up into smaller reels as well. LinkedIn is 15 to 60 seconds. And this is for thought leadership, authenticity, and trust building. YouTube Shorts is 15 to 60 seconds. Evergreen tips, testimonials, or personal motivation. And I can personally say that YouTube Shorts has done a world for my YouTube channel. An absolute world. We get more subscribers now ever, and that's coming from YouTube Shorts. So make sure that you put your content into YouTube Shorts. And then your website blogs. Now, this is an interesting one, because I like to admit it when I want to say learn something new, but really it's just a good reminder, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So my action step will be to talk to my team about this today. But website blogs, you can actually embed the reels into an actual blog, and it will help embed your SEO and boost your SEO for on-page retention. So because we've got a podcast page on our website, we've got the transcript on there, we have the image, we've got YouTube. I'm now also going to say to my team, well, we've already got these little reels, let's embed them on there as well. Fun fact to check after last week's presentation, is that going to slow my website down? How can we best manage that? Because if it's going to be stored on the website, it might slow it down. So I'm going to have to look at how we're going to do that. Okay, so why does B-roll footage matter for SEO and for visibility? Well, it helps to engage your target audience, and it keeps them there for longer. So engagement, it is all about keeping them longer. And when you keep them longer, then the algorithm is stimulated to show more people like them. And when that happens, it tells Google that your content is valuable. So when you embed your reels or your shorts on your site, you improve your SEO ranking and you connect with your audience visually. Some people don't like to read, they rather like to feel. We got two sales calls this week. The sales calls came from people who've been watching the reels that I've been posting, the educational tips that I've been posting and sending out. And they said, Chantal, I feel like I know you, which is awesome. And that's what we want. You want them to feel like they know you. You become a truth teller. So 2025, oh, where's that? That's interesting. All right. So gonna have to go to here. Sorry, guys. Let's see where that is. All right. So how do we do this? How do we put it all together? So how to film and create B-roll for multiple reels. Firstly, you want to plan your B-roll themes, right? So you want to decide on 4 to 5 different reoccurring categories that are going to tell your story. So maybe it's going to be like work in progress. Maybe it's going to be educational insights. Maybe it's going to be lifestyle. Maybe it's celebrations or milestones. Maybe it's behind the brand. And then, of course, you want to align it to your content pillars. So we use EATS for the content pillars, and that's educate, aspire, tell a story, and start conversations. Then you want to create like a shot list. So before filming, you want to plan 20 to 30 quick clips to keep them short, simple, and repeatable. So, for example, a shot list might look like typing on the laptop, looking at the camera and smiling, pouring a coffee, holding your product, talking on the phone, walking outdoors. Just remembering that all of it needs to be in portrait with good lighting, but you can also mix your angles, so wide, medium, or close up. Now, if you want to batch film, as I said, the pros of that is you've got dedicated time, you're organized, you've got everything planned beforehand. You can decide once a month you're going to do that. And I've got a clothing business that I work with that does that, and a babysitting company that does that. They will batch film because then you've just got it, ladies, put on makeup for one day, get the lighting right, get your clothing ready, have all your ideas, and then you just film, and get it out the way, right? And it's simple. You can use so we just use our smartphones. You can use a tripod. I don't really use a ring light because I don't like looking into it because of my eyes. And some people use microphones. I don't use a microphone as long as there's not too much background noise. Once you've got your clips edited, you want to use platform native tools to increase your engagement. So this is where we add stickers, polls, questions, emojis to Instagram stories. This is where you'd include your captions, your trending sounds, or your hooks, for example, for your reels, and overlay text on there. And I don't like there to be too much text. So I kind of always say to my team, I only really want a hook or a call to action on the actual video. I don't really want more than that, especially if there's captions. So if you've got transcript on the actual video reels, we really don't want, other words coming on there as well. And then again, just remembering those safe zones. Then you want to make sure that you've got a shared folder. So we use Google Drive. It's really easy. And we use OBMHub media library because if it's inside the media library, all our content is in there. We can simply just schedule it and upload using OBMHub, which is a high-level product. Some of our clients also use platforms like Dropbox. Don't forget to create folders. So if whatever you decide on what your categories are going to be, like lifestyle, behind the scenes, workspace, education, make sure that the videos and the content's all put into those folders because alternatively you're not going to be able to find them. Now, the other thing that's really important to note is that you do need to make sure that the file names depict what it is. So for example, 2025 underscore March underscore behind scenes underscore typing dot movie, right? Because that way when you go and you have a look at it, you'll be able to go through, have a look at all the file names and you'll know exactly what that is and to use it. You can also tick it off the list to say, right, we've used this one on this date, which means we'll only use it like 6 months to a year later again. So if you want to edit it professionally, you could use things like CapCut or Descript. Canva also has a video editing tool. Other platforms include InVideo.io, VN Editor, which is a mobile app, OBS Studio, Clips, which is by Apple, or UCut, which is an Android feature. This will allow you to edit it and create clean, bright, aesthetics video content. So when you're looking at writing your AI, writing your captions using AI, you can generate ideas using ChatGPT, obviously making sure that you're using your tone and your brand words. Also making sure that you research and are asking ChatGPT what would be the relevant, because relevancy is really important, but relevant hashtags to use. And then always writing in first person for authenticity. And then always having the right call to action. So what is the next step? Where are you sending them? So for example, a call to action might look like, want marketing that's meaningful, profitable, and easy to manage, choose a time to chat here. So then batch your upload and your schedules. So you can use a shared content calendar, so something like OBMHub or project management platform or even Google Sheets. And you can schedule it in Meta Business Suite. So Facebook and Instagram, you can schedule it there, remembering that you are either putting it in Facebook and allowing it to go to Instagram or Instagram to Facebook. Whatever is your primary platform, post there first, because you'll always get less engagement on the second platform. And the rules are different, obviously. You can also use OBMHub's social planner and plan everything in there. Make sure that you're including the captions, the hashtags, the thumbnail selection, and keyword-rich video titles. So the thumbnail selection is basically, it's like YouTube thumbnails. It is the image you're going to use to stop people. So for example, if I did the iFly one of me, I think there was a picture of me sort of like spinning around or something, and I used that picture as the thumbnail to stop people from scrolling and get them to click on it. Tracking and reporting monthly is super important, because you want to make sure that you're having a look and going, is this actually working? Is what I'm doing working? Are we getting likes, saves, shares, and views, and for how long? What audience are we actually reaching? Is it growing? So for me, I always say to my team, don't tell me what the number is. I just want to know it's green and going up every single week, and just tell me by what percentage. And then you want to know, is it actually driving traffic or leads? So is it actually getting people off social media? Because that's the entire purpose of social media, is to get people off social media and to take the next step, which would be to go to your website and to hopefully give you an email address. So you can use OBMHub Analytics. So we've got a whole reporting system in there that we've set up to use. You can also use Meta Insights, and Google Analytics is great as well. Each month, obviously, you've got to make sure that you're optimizing what's working or not working. If something's not working, we stop doing it and we try something else. But we need to be having these conversations all the time. We don't just keep creating stuff that doesn't work. It's got to be getting better. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be getting better. All right, so managing the workflow between the business owner and the virtual assistant is, the business owner needs to plan and approve the themes. The business owner needs to film the footage, unless you want to, purchase stock-free image from platforms like pixels.com. But ideally, it's better for you, rather than getting stock-free images, because then everyone has access to those. It's better for you, obviously, to have those personable behind-the-scene or background footage is better. So using your smartphone. And that's the business owner's responsibility then to upload and organize them into the shared drive. This is where now the virtual assistant comes in now to edit them, to write the captions and the hashtags, to use ChatGPT. But it's the business owner needs to come back in again to make sure that they're approving them and giving them feedback. And then it would go back to the virtual assistant, who would then schedule it and also do reporting on it. For us personally, and this is what I teach, I always say that in order for you and your virtual assistants or your marketing doers to have alignment, you want to make sure that you're having that Monday clarity meeting and that Friday feedback session. And my team will bring me their content, and we've got one of those meetings today. They bring me everything that they've done, and they get live feedback, because it's better than me going backwards and forwards. And I prefer to talk, as you can see, rather than sit there and typing backwards and forwards the whole time giving feedback, especially if there's a lot of misalignment. So if it's a new VA or marketing doer and there's a lot of misalignment and there's a lot of things that don't seem congruent, and there's a lot of edits that you need to make, my advice to you would be to then have a training session with them. So I'll often say to my VAs, can you book a session in with me? And I'll always say it's on this. So it's on training for Reels. And they'll book it in, and then we'll have a dedicated time to go through, so that I can clear up any of that miscommunication or misalignment, and just tighten up that schedule. So for our for our live audience, we're going to go into the next section. So thank you very much to those of you who are watching on YouTube. If you haven't already, please make sure that you push subscribe to YouTube, but also subscribe on our website so that you get these emailed to you weekly. We send them out on a weekly on a Friday, along with other content. But for our business owners, I'm actually going to go through the SOP now that we've created, which is a content planning template that virtual assistants or business owners can use in order to map out the media, the footage, the content, the metaphors, convinces, the connection, all of that. It's epic. And at the same time, also ChatGPT prompts that can help. So if you're not live or you're not a paying member, unfortunately, you're not entitled to that content. But I do hope to see you on the other side.